Okay, we're continuing here. The question here is, how does this extraordinary love open up? From our point of view, when we love something very much, we see its glory, its importance, its significance. So, I mean, take the worldly example of people buying a lottery ticket, right? Why do they buy a lottery ticket that's got 500, I think it's like, I just saw the sign we were driving here, some $500 million or something like that. Some people are crazy about that, right? Why do people buy lottery? Because, this is something so amazing. It's mahima. It's like, this is so amazing, right? That's what they feel. All right. The same thing is true with anything else in the worldly experience, about taking a trip somewhere, buying a big home, doing this, material things, right? So, when the mahima means the glory, the extraordinary tattva that is Paramatma, once that is in the mind, conviction is there, that the cause of all causes, sarvakarana karanam, govindam paramanandam, sarvakarana karanam, right? That is govindam, that conviction comes initially from the Gita, scripture, saints, santa samagam, that nishta develops. From that, conviction says it is there, that Bhagwan ka dham hai, Bhagwan swayam hai. It's not kalpanik, it's not imaginary, it's not metaphorical, or it's not just, some anthropological it's not any of that. It's actually wo hai. When that comes, that is real Shraddha. And from there, the sadhana begins, where that relationship is established. And that's where the love comes from. Love cannot come when there's doubts. Because you can say, where is God? Are you just imagining it? Is it some fabrication of the mind? No. It is not. That is where Guru Parampara comes, bona fide Guru Parampara. They have walked the path. They have realized that this is so. And if you go on that path, that walking the path that they have laid out is called Sampradaya. That is the meaning of the word Sampradaya. That will come in these notes also. Right? So that is how it actually opens up. Anubhav ki drishti se. It's not intellectualization. All of that, doubt has to disappear. The buddhi, human intellect, has 4 functions. Samshay, Nishay, Smriti, Nidra. 4 functions. So, the doubts disappear. Samshay means doubt. Is it so? How can it be? Krishna did this Leela. Who is Krishna? All doubts have to go. Then there is Nishay. So, Samshay has to disappear. Nishay. Samshay means doubt. Nishay means conviction. It's still not realization. It's just a conviction that it is so. Like a person who enters into a medical school. There's a conviction that if I go through this process, I will become an MD. You're not an MD yet, but you will be. If you go through all these steps, you'll get there eventually. Right? There's no doubt. Initially, it begins with faith, conviction. It's like that. That Ramanujacharya, Vallabhacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swami Prabhupada ji, unke jo guru ho gaye, the current devotees that are there, current gurus are there, Maharaj came, all these, what, are they all fools? I mean, are they just making things up? No, they have actually traveled this path. They are showing you the path. They're showing you the mantras. They're showing you the stotras. They're showing each person how to retune themselves into that Shraddha. That is called Sampradaya. So Sampradaya is the bona fide path that actually takes one to the realization. And that is the way it is expressed. Now, why is it like that? Let's stay away from that subject for now. That's another long discussion. But just assuming that it has been set up that way by the divine. Now, if it's a bona fide path, how do you know? The barometer is exactly what we have been saying. Radha psychology. I love the way that this is put here. Ananda, Viraha, Sambhoga, all of these amazing qualities begin to evolve. That the transformation of psychological consciousness is the barometer. So, like I'll give you just my own example. For example, in some of the difficulties that happened in the past, I used to have some of those very intense dreams and whatnot, right? All those things disappeared. Those things disappeared. Healing, there was damage done in a certain way, but it had to be healed, and then the mind began to evolve out of that, let's say. Okay, very good. That's my barometer. My barometer is my experience, is my inner life purified? Is it purified? Is it steady? Is it harmonious? Is it brimming with divine consciousness? Is it so? If it is so, then what is the barometer? The quality, again, quality, quantity, direction, dimension, depth, and structure of my thoughts and emotions and memories with dream state, waking state, deep sleep state. That's my barometer. Scriptures are not. Scriptures are a barometer to the inner barometer. Scriptures are giving a guidance that, okay, these things are there. If you have these 64 qualities or 39 qualities, that's a saintly state. Sadhu ki sthiti. If you have 64 qualities are there, each and every one of them are brimming, then you are, it's called in Gujarati we say Purna Sadhu. It's 100% saint. It's like someone who is, like we take Vinny for example, we say that he's top doc, right? He's got all these awards because he's got that Purnata, he's got a certain background that he's in that state to get those awards. There's a criteria that yes, this is the extraordinary being who's got all the criteria. Similarly, saintly qualities are all needed for this prema bhakti. These qualities that Radhika ji has, there cannot open without the saintly qualities. The saintly qualities are the absolute base. Without that, this para bhakti can never open. वो open ही नहीं होता, वो open ही हो ही नहीं सकता. So this is why that beautiful bhajan, Vaishnava jano to tatene kahiye re, pida parai ne jane. Narsiya Mehta's bhajan, Gandhiji used to sing this. It describes these saintly qualities. Without saintly qualities, none of this is possible. It's never possible. Chapter 12 of the Gita, 20 verses, describes all of those saintly qualities.
Tell me what it means.
Well, with that bhajan, Vaishnava janato tene kahiye, pida parai jane. Who is considered to be true Vaishnava? Who can understand the dukkha of others, and resonate with it in a way, who knows that, doesn't, and there's a oneness there. I mean, I don't remember all the lines of that, but we can look it up sometime. Vaishnava Janato. So this is a bhajan written by Narsiya Mehta. It's a Gujarati. So Narsiya Mehta is a devotee of Sri Krishna.
Yeah, I know that. He's one of the biggest.
Very, very great devotee. He's written all these beautiful poems, right? Okay, so that is Narsiya. And lots of devotion, and Bhagwan Krishna actually came to him. There's a lot of experiences. In fact, Narsiya Mehta went to Bhagwan Shankar, or did the Upasana of Shiv, tremendous Upasana of Shiv. And he said that I want to see the Ras Leela. So then he puts him in Samadhi and shows him the Ras Leela. Actually, that's how that, so he sees that Golok Dham. Bhagwan Krishna ki Ras Leela wo dekh sakte by the grace of Bhagwan Shankar. So that is how that works. Also, Shivji is also foundational to all of this. Because without the Shiv Krupa, you cannot actually enter into that domain. Right? Okay, now let's go on a little bit further here. Now, let's see. So, joy, ananda, longing, viraha, and union, sambhoga, even jealousy or sorrow, each emotion, am I on the right page here? Yeah, okay, good, yeah. Each emotion is transfigured into an expression of love. This is the point. The emotions we all have inside of us, each of them is transmuted it is transfigured, that's the word that is used here, into an expression of love. So that Divya Prem, that divine joy, that divine love, is expressing through each of the normal human emotions. So for example, anger, the emotion of anger, well, how is that expressing itself? That anger in its usual sense is no longer present, but that flavor that is anger, it's used in a loving way. That love is infused inside that emotion to say, like you can have a conversation with Bhagavan to say, why is it that you disappeared, or why is it that I cannot see? You can fight with him essentially. It's that kind of thing, So
I know. I've been listening to Katha,
right? Yeah, all that.
For you to encourage you to have that relationship, to develop that.
Yes.
Not develop, but open.
Yes.
Get into that opening of that.
Yes. So all of our human emotions, they are transfigured, So
for
for
all the human emotions, to give it to God, basically, instead of
Yes, but they're still present, but they have reached divinity. For example, I'll give you a simple example. When we see an old friend, we say, "Oh, it's been such a long time." That people hug each other, right? Very common thing. That's a human emotion. Now, when the bhakta sees the murti of Krishna or remembers Krishna or remembers Radha, there is that intense, that desire to hug, let's say, desire to express that oneness, but it is done in the divine modality. So the emotion is still there, but it's been completely transformed. Bhagavan himself appears to the devotee, और उनका जो दिव्य आनंद है वो देते हैं. So that is the beauty of Golok Dham. In the Golok Dham, there is the instantaneous fulfillment of the wish of the devotee for the kind of devotion that the devotee wants through Sandhini Shakti. In the morning satsang, we've been covering all this actually. So the abode changes, everything changes right away. Instantly it changes into what you want to see happen. Like that. Okay, we'll leave that subject aside just for the time being. Radha psychology thus outlines a framework where emotions are not suppressed or negated, but sanctified and directed towards transcendence. So this is called sanctification. That's a Christian word actually. The emotions are sanctified. So they're not suppressed, they're not negated. It's not saying that I want to kill my emotions. It's not that I want to kill my anger. I want to use the energy within anger and turn it around to make it divine. I want to take the Kam Vasana and turn it into Madhurya Bhakti. I want to take Lobh, greed, and turn it into wanting more and more company of the scriptures or of the saints. So the same normal level human emotion, they are not suppressed, they are not negated, but sanctified and directed towards transcendence. Very beautiful. Beautiful. It's very beautiful. Okay, dynamics of selflessness and bliss. At the heart of Radha's psychology lies the paradox. The more she forgets herself, the more bliss she experiences. By abandoning self-interest, that is tyag, and pouring herself entirely into Krishna's joy, she discovers an inexhaustible wellspring of happiness. This is the key. It is a discovery of that Maha Ananda. That is not part of the three gunas of Maya. So the three gunas of Maya are totally transcended. Usko kehte hai gunatit. So chapter 14 of the Gita, Gunatitaha sa uchyate. There's a whole description of all the prerequisites to reach that state beyond the three gunas. So Bhakta gets a very beautiful glimpse of this Ananda, this inexhaustible wellspring of happiness. This is the key. Here's the difference, Chetnaji, between the material level Anand, the happiness, Sukh Dukh, and that. And that, in that extraordinary, here this is all becomes old. Saturation, tolerance effect, everything becomes, it doesn't matter how many trips we take, how much, something new we're wanting all the time, and it gets exhausted, you get tired of it. It happens with food, it happens with people, it happens with relationships, it happens with everything in this world. You get exhausted by it. You get tired of it. You say, what's new in this? I'm tired of this thing, right? So people keep trying to change it around. But that's not the case. That is not the case in the divine love, where there's a discovery of the inexhaustible wellspring of happiness. This structure of giving and receiving defines her inner world and serves as a template for the devotee's path. That is the key. So the devotion, as it sequentially increases, one goes beyond dualities, and then there's the glimpse of that extraordinary divine. I was just listening to Premananji's lecture on this point also. He said, Batata, don't tell people about the divine experiences. You were telling me that also the other day. I was just, but that's important. You're the only one I tell anyway. I don't know. No, but his point. He said, tell it in a different way. Tell it in the third person way.
He says, don't even tell your schedule, when you pray, when you meditate, don't say anything.
Yeah, just keep it.
Right. You know that though.
Yeah.
For every saint, every guru has told.
Every guru. And the key behind because of the ahankar that can come or something like that. So, but whatever it is, the fact is that when you get a glimpse of this thing here, that is this wellspring, inexhaustible wellspring of Ananda, so that this structure of giving and receiving defines her inner world and serves as the template for the devotee's path, because this is the internal world. See, in Vachanamrut, Sarangpur 10, Maharaj also said this beautifully, that the abode of God, Vaikuntha, Goloka, Shvaitdvipa, Brahmapur, they are right inside of us. They are, it's Anumatra Shetunati. It's not even away from even the atomic distance. That's Sriji Maharaj has said this point there. Meaning that this inner world, the structure of giving and receiving defines her inner world. It's a give and take constantly with Bhagwan. Bhagwan ke saath connection itna rehta hai, that a devotee cannot come out of that. In the beginning, it's difficult to go into that. Eventually, not be able to come out of it. That's how that works. So that's what that is, and serves as a template for the devotee's path. Okay, so that's a template. Okay, so mediating functions for devotee. Her psychology also functions pedagogically, meaning that it teaches us. It's a structure of the way it teaches us the path of devotion. Devotees learn how to love by contemplating her mind, emotions, and dispositions. Radha ji ka man kaisa hai? So if I want to reach that stage of devotion, higher devotion, I have to see what is her mind like. What is Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji's mind like? What are the great sages? Unka mind kaisa hai? That is important, right? So that is called pedagogical, because it's teaching lessons, it's giving a template. Contemplating her mind, contemplating her emotions. So what is, like I was telling you about Yogi Ji Maharaj. Yogi Ji Maharaj is just loving, purna prem. It's just a constant flow of love. Now, so if I say that I want to be that, I want that, so I can meditate on those qualities of that saint. That he has, in fact, this is one of the key teachings in Vachanamrut. Satpurush ne vishay dar priti ej atma darshan nu sadhan, that enlightened beings who are in that extraordinary state, see that state, be aware of that state, bring that state inside by loving the saint. Now, it's not the loving the personality, and personality is showing that tattva. So the great love for that opens that quality inside of us, and that's what this is talking about here. That let me see, where was I here? Okay, so yes, so this structure of giving and receiving defines her inner world and serves as a template. Okay, her psychology also functions pedagogically. Devotees learn how to love by contemplating her mind, emotions, and dispositions. So there's three things: mind, emotion, and disposition. That what is a natural disposition to in which way that enlightened being is actually living, acting, etc. Right? So that becomes a part of our dhyan. In the Pushti Marg, for instance, the devotee takes shelter, ashraya, of Radha's psychology as a bridge into Krishna's presence. Absolutely. That's exactly what happens. So she shows not only the goal of divine love, but also the means, the precise orientation of consciousness that leads one into the rasa of devotion. It's a reorientation. Again, the 9 forms of devotion, bhajan, kirtan, these things are there, but it orients from within, where the vision of this sansar changes. There's no more pulling back and forth. There's no more raga dvesha. There's no more running after kanchan, kamini, kirti. The shad-ripus are gone. All that is completely gone. So there is the vision where intense belief that God exists everywhere. Bhagavan sab jagah hai, sab mein hai. That vision. So the person is not pulled by the names and forms. You see, this is why this is at the height of Vedanta. Vedanta says go beyond the names and forms and see the Brahman everywhere. But that's already given in this. Right? Okay. All right. Very good. So all right. And they move into the rest of devotion. Theology of inner life. Finally, Radha's psychology is inseparable from theology. It reveals the inner life of God's own bliss potency, Haladini Shakti. To explore her psychology is to study how divine love feels, flows and functions. So the experience of the emotions of that Divya Prem. So the bhajans that are like, when I was going to the temple today, 3 bhajans were heard on the way to the temple. Sundara Shri Ghanasham, Amare Mole Padar. It's in Gujarati. I think Premanand Swami or somebody has written that. So it's so beautifully, so the bhajan that is heard, to be the bhajan, I can listen to it and enjoy it, but there's a level beyond it where the bhav within, which is within the bhajan, one resonates with it intensely. One resonates with it so that the Haladini bliss potency opens up from the heart. So you become the bhajan. It's not simply I'm listening to a bhajan and I'm enjoying it. One is in that, and then there's no coming out of it. That's the key point. There's no coming out of it. To explore her psychology is to study how divine love feels, flows, and functions. All 3. This is why saints like Hari Rai Ji, or the Gaudiya authors like Rupa Goswami analyze Radha's inner states, not to psychologize, not to psychologize her, but to present her inner life as a model for both metaphysical truth and spiritual practice. These are the 2 key points. What is the metaphysical truth of the dham, of the muktas, of the abode of God, and of the Haladini Shakti herself? That is the metaphysical truth. Yes. And that metaphysical truth is to resonate here in spiritual practice. That is the sadhana. So for example, when we say, take good from everyone, that is just a very beginning point. That's a great thing. If you can do that, take some good quality from everybody and not see other people's faults or leave that aside. But that's a beginning. It's a doorway into, into that state of seeing the Lord everywhere. Ja juve ta Ramaji biju na bhasere anubhavi anandama govinda gavere. Muktanand ji ke 4. But Yogi Ji Maharaj used to sing these a lot. Beautiful, fantastic. Anubhavi anandama brahmarasana bhogire. Bhog of the brahmaras, bhakti ka ras. Anubhavi anandama brahmarasana bhogire. Jivana mukta jogiya antar arogire. Ja juve ta Ramaji biju na bhasere bhata de ki bhule nahi anubhava ujasere. These are 4 poems like this. They're extraordinary. Ja lagi dil dagmaga nava brahma prakashere. That means as long as the heart is wavering back and forth, rag, dvesh, aham, mamatva, the brahma prakash nahi aata, who you are, that doesn't come about, right? All these beautiful... Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. So, to explore her psychology is to study how divine love feels, flows, and functions. This is why saints like Hari Rai Ji and Gaudiya authors like Rupa Goswami analyze Radha's inner states. They have given analysis of that extensively. That's where the Rasamrut Sindhu and all the other amazing, they're bahut shastra that they have written. Not to psychologize her, but to present her inner life as a model for both metaphysical truth and spiritual practice, because that love is such that tattva, that is Radha, is a metaphysical truth that is the abode itself, and then the that anubhav here. So, for example, like when you go to the ISKCON temples, they say Ananda Koti Vaishnavon ki jai. There's so much respect for the devotees of God. Why is that? Somebody will say, why don't you respect everybody? Of course, you respect everybody. Have equal equanimity towards all. Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmani Gavihastini. But the devotees, the respect for the devotees, the love for the devotees is one notch above that samdrishti. You see, that samdrishti is a foundation for the love. It is, but you cannot say that love is to be developed without samdrishti. Samdrishti is a foundation for that extraordinary love. But that extraordinary love for Bhagwan ki jo bhakta hai, that is the most important thing. Samdrishti towards all, attention, affection, and connection with the devotees of God. That is called satsanga. You see, that's the difference there. Because people are roaming around blindly in the sansar. That's all. They don't know anything about this. This is, so they're roaming blindly thinking they will find Anand through the sansar. With Shabda Sparsh, Rupa Ras Gandh. Run after the Panch Vishayas. More this, it's continuous. Just turn on Netflix, turn on Hulu, one thing after another. Usme sab mixture hai, rag, dvesh, aham, mamatva, kalesh. There's nothing other, it's just more variations of that. So, the Bhakta naturally has Vairagya. Vairagya and Jnana. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Mind is very chanchal, Bhagavan Krishna says in the Gita. That develop, you study yourself and have Vairagya. Two formula he has given. Self-study, Abhyas, and Vairagya. So when we do this, listen to the teachings of the saints, allows us to look within, right? So all of that that's all foundational to this. All right, now, next point here. In short, Radha psychology means the systematic understanding of how her inner life and love works. A model of selfless devotion, God-centered consciousness, sanctified emotion, and ecstatic surrender. Now see, these are important points. Ecstatic surrender. I can say that, okay, I am surrendered to Bhagavan Krishna. I can say that, or to Shiva, let's say, or to Devi. I can say I'm surrendered. But hold on. It's not just surrender. It is ecstatic surrender. And the word ecstatic means rasmay. Isme aisa ras hai that I am yours with an intensity of ecstasy. I am yours. That kind of, but, and it's not just that I'm yours, I'm surrendered to you. That is called ecstatic surrender. Amazing. Absolutely incredible. It is both descriptive, explaining her divine states, and prescriptive, guiding devotees into the same orientation. Descriptive and prescriptive both. Right? So it describes the extraordinary glory. That description is a prescription also. Yeah, okay.